Crews in the R.A.C. historic Asphalt Championship left the UK this weekend as they headed to Belgium for Rallye Salamandre, a compact event offering the UK crews a taste of the atmosphere that the continent has to offer. The event started on Saturday with scrutineering bringing the crowds out to look at the cars. And the R.A.C. Championship crews were in good company with an amazing lineup and variety of cars ready to tackle the stages on Sunday morning.
About 12 years, no, I forget how old I'm getting, 15 years ago, might even be 18 years ago, I did the 24-hour de Marche, which is a bit farther on down. But we thought because we had a new car again now, we'd come out here and try it, and it's around to the Fuchs Championship. So we come out to have a go at it again now.
Yes, definitely. We've been looking for this for more than 4 months now. So it's been a huge challenge to organize everything, but the club has been fantastic. I think everybody's quite happy with the stages and the conditions. So weather, for the weather, we have to keep finger crossed. We will have showers for sure, but and it can be very, very tricky if wet. So that's clear.
On to day two then, and the first of the stages, and it will be the lead for Christophe Jacob and Isabelle Rainier, the local crew joining the championship this weekend as a benchmark for the UK crews. For Tim Piercy and Louis Luca, it will be second. Tim doing most of his rallying in Europe now, so the experience was playing into their hands. But he would still be almost a minute behind the local pairing, which of course was understandable. For Roger Moran and Ashley Trimble, it will be the lead of the championship coming into this round. Winners of the opening round at Bovington this weekend will be a whole different challenge, the weather not helping matters. And if we thought throwing an escort around the slippery stages was a challenge, imagine how Steve Perez and Carl Williamson were feeling going into the opening stage. They wrestled the Stratos around in fourth place for now, 40 seconds back from the podium places. Roger Matthews and Tom Marrott were another crew here on the back of a good result at the first round of the championship. Like Moran, they will be facing a whole new challenge this weekend. They have a good steady run though, taking up 5th place at this stage, just a single second back from the Stratos of Perez. Grant Shand didn't have a good result from the opening round. Joined by daughter Bonnie in the co-driver's seat this weekend, things were going a lot better. 6th place for now, 4 seconds back from Matthews. For Chris White and Chris Dewsnap, it will be 7th. The pair end stage 3 with a 37-second gap to Shand ahead, losing a little time in the longer third stage of the morning. Frustratingly for Simon and Alistair Cook, it will be a wrong tyre choice to start the day. They lose out on what could have been a good start, ending the morning with 8th place. A change of tyres would hopefully see them climb back up the results a little. For Steve Stringer and Carol Soanes, it will be 9th. The pair struggle a little with the conditions, it has to be said, as most were, but they do make it to the end of the loop in one piece. They would, however, sadly retire soon afterwards with a broken throttle cable. And for Lee and Christopher Armstrong, it will be 10th. Time lost on stage 2 would see them drop a few minutes back from the pace, the gear lever coming off in Lee's hand midway through the stage and of course slowing them down as a result. Sadly, we'd lose a few crews early on, with Barry Stevenson Wheeler and John Pickervance crashing out of the rally on stage 2. Tim Freeman and Paul Wakely in the Sierra, on the other hand, decided not to wait for the accident, opting to pull out of the event with the car undrivable in the conditions, not wanting to damage the car on its debut. So at the end of the first loop of stages, the results look like this. On to the next loop, the conditions not improving at all, but there will be no change at the top as Christophe Jacob and Isabelle Rainier lead the way still, and a little more of an advantage as well in that position. No change either then for Tim Piercy and Louis Luca. 2nd place for the pair themselves now with over a minute of an advantage in that position and looking good for holding on to that result if they could keep their nerve. Roger Moran and Ashley Trimble were still going strong on the back of their round 1 victory. 3rd place for the pair, and just like Piercy ahead, they were opening up a good lead in that position themselves. There would though be change in the rest of the places as Grant and Bonnie Shand moved their way up the results and into 4th. A good run on the slippery stages helping them gain some time on the results. Roger Matthews and Tom Marrett also have a good steady run, remaining where they were in 5th place, while the rest of the results around them took a bit of a shake-up. The day wasn't without its mistakes, but nothing the pair couldn't handle. Simon and Alistair Crook make a better choice on the tyres for this loop. They work their way up the results a little into 6th now, going much better, the pair feeling much more in control of the car and their rally now. The same though couldn't be said for Steve Perez and Carl Williamson. They lose time on stage 6 when they get caught out on the gravel section of the stage, ending up facing the wrong way. 7th place will be theirs for now, but at least they were still going without any damage.
To left 1.
Frustratingly for Chris White and Chris Dewsnap, it will be 8th place now. They lose a position in this loop, but they were only 7 seconds behind Perez now with 3 stages left to go. And no change for Lee and Christopher Armstrong. They were back on the pace now, but the earlier time loss would see them rounding out our results in 9th. So 6 stages complete here in Belgium. It will be no change at the top, but with plenty of movement outside those podium places. On to the final loop of stages then, and there will be no change in the final position. Lee and Christopher Armstrong suffering with their earlier problems. They do at least manage to make it to the finish. Chris White and Chris Dewsnap, meanwhile, would be glad just to get to the finish. A number of spins throughout the day had given them plenty of scares. A dramatic weekend, but they get the car to the finish in one piece and with 6th place. For Steve Perez and Carl Williamson, the damage from the spin earlier in the day had been done. They end the rally with 7th, but they were still throwing that Stratos around for the cameras out there on the stages. Simon and Alistair Crook would be wishing they'd gone with the full wet tyres on the opening loop. A mistake which could have cost them a place or 2 on the overall results, but they get to the finish and with plenty of new tarmac experience under their belts. For Roger Matthews and Tom Marrett, it would be 5th place. A great addition to the result from their opening round, and of course, another category win for the pair this weekend as well. For Grant and Bonnie Shand, it would be 4th. Happy with that finish and relieved just to get to the end in these tricky conditions. This result making up for their retirement in the opening round and setting them up nicely for round 3. Roger Moran and Ashley Trimble have a good weekend. A few close calls to keep them on their toes, but apart from that, things went well. They end the rally with the final step on the podium and strengthen their season total after round 2. Fastest of the UK crews this weekend were Tim Piercy and Louis Luca. Tricky conditions would make things difficult for the pair, but it was the same, of course, for everyone. A great result to end the rally with and put some good points on the board after not being at the opening round. That does mean then that it's victory for Christoph Jacob and Isabel Rainier. They take the victory on their local stages. A win of almost 2 minutes by the end of the rally. But we would have to wait until further rounds to see if they will be venturing over to the UK to try and add to their championship maximum. So just before we chat to some of the crews, here's a look at how the final results stand here at round 2 of the R.A.C. Historic Rally Championship.
Excellent, even much better than expected for our performance. So yes, delighted.
Any problems with the car?
No, the only problem is located between the steering wheel and the seat, just like usually.
Interesting day. Been pretty tricky all day. It's been wetter. We've had snow, we've had hail. It's just finally started to dry up towards the end of the day, which has been really good fun actually. But yeah, we're just a little bit of damage. We've had a really fun rally actually. It's been a great trip.
Yeah, okay. First 3 stages, bit wild in places, and we decided to back away from that a bit and make sure we got to the finish and get some decent points for the R.A.C. Championship. Really, that was the idea.
It's been very wet, but we've enjoyed it. Shame about the weather, because it's sort of created a lot of problems for the organisers with the conditions and people having accidents, so there's been 1 or 2 hold-ups, but we've really enjoyed it and hopefully come back next year.
Exceptionally slippery. It was like ice at times it was, but we've got back here, which a few unfortunately haven't done, but I've never seen so much carnage and people off, and just real slippery it was. It's only this last hour or so now where there's been a bit of grip and able to get on, like, you know.
Yeah, we lost quite a bit of time on the 5th stage along the rough, bumpy road, the gravel road. It bounced. We ended up facing the wrong way, ended up in a ditch. Unfortunately, spectators pushed us out, so we lost a couple of minutes there. But I think we would have probably made it into the top 10 if we'd hadn't had that problem. But it's been a very, very tricky car to drive in these conditions. Yeah, it just wants to swap ends. I think I saw your camera on one particular junction. And you probably thought that was amazing skill, but I can assure you it was amazing luck.